Welcome to Burning Bright, a weekly podcast presenting poetry and prose from Passager. This episode is all about mothers, different versions of mothers, different ways that their kids perceive and respond to them, in life and in death. Gilbert Arzola won the 2019 Passager Poetry Contest. Here's his poem, My Mother's Hands, from his book, Prayers of Little Consequence. My mother's hands, too young for her face, yield to dreams, bend like tall grass, resigned to this, a 3-room tenant house and 3 ragged sons. My mother's hands, methodical with her chores, carve at an ordinary day. Her youngest plays by the door, indifferent to the winter wind, impossibly cold passing through it. Too young to understand, too young. He doesn't know any better, and so he is happy. My mother's hands, choked by circumstance, live another life away from this place. My Mother's Hands, Gilbert Arzola. Wilderness Sarchild wrote this poem about her mother, titled, I Won't Be Like My Mother. Did I tell you my mother attached herself to a telephone pole while screaming at my father for having an affair? Which he did, but it was many years before. Or that my father called the police and they took her to a psych ward where she became a guinea pig for random combinations of psychotropic drugs? Did I tell you she had been a science teacher, a long-distance walker, a doting grandma, a fashionista, and could cut a mean rug on the dance floor? Did I tell you she never forgot how to dance, even though she no longer recognized the man that she was dancing with? Did I tell you she wouldn't eat unless vanilla soft serve was mixed in with every bite of meat and potatoes that my father spoon-fed her? Did I tell you it took 3 attendants to change her diapers because all 5 feet and 90 pounds of her threw prize-fighter-worthy tantrums? Did I tell you she punctured her rectum because she no longer knew how to wipe herself, and that her toenails got thick and yellow and long and strong as steel, and when I tried to cut them I had to run to the toilet and puke? Did I tell you how angry I am that she did this to me? Did I tell you how heartless I know that sounds? Did I tell you I'm afraid this will happen to me? Did I tell you I'm afraid this will happen to me? Did I tell you I'm afraid this will happen to me? Did I tell you I have a plan? Wilderness Sarchild's poem, I Won't Be Like My Mother, from her book, Old Women Talking. Wendy Elizabeth Ingersoll said her mom was physically and emotionally tough, but she was also very vulnerable. Here's her poem, The Trail. Like an iron spring, the winter hours condense and expand unthinkable seasons beyond the moment my mother died. Did I tell you she climbed from Georgia to Maine carrying her backpack and attitude? Did I say she pitched her tent in a hurricane while I watched from the car? She laughed when rain turned our beds into a stream's, scorned when we choked on freeze-dry stew, gaped when we refused to hike. What peak was she assaulting? At 70, she marched her grandsons down and up the canyon in a blizzard. She spurred so hard she'd pant and gasp for hours before she'd rest her heart. She spurred so hard her husband climbed down mountains backwards to spare the cartilage in his legs. She spurred so hard her daughters wouldn't walk with her the last unfinished miles of trail, haven't yet returned to her stone, carry still their brittle need, knees buckling, love quivering, like the air does not before a dead person's lips. The Trail, Wendy Elizabeth Ingersoll. Daniel Carpenter said that when he finally opened the vault of memories about his mother, outpoured vivid details that captured and returned to me a woman more than a half-century gone, unveiling a poem that felt less like artifact than an inheritance. We'll end with his poem, The Leaving Never Leaves. She was heiress to hard labor, daughter of refugees from starving Ireland, whom history's winds cast to Ohio River country, to dig coal and find new churches, to which to haul the burden of their sins. I have little memory of her, this Mary Catherine Mulheron Carpenter, without an apron, steaming pot, wringer washing machine, useless mopping of blackened linoleum. I didn't know the fine, feral, toothy girl my dad still shamelessly kissed and pawed in our presence. But even he, with his hungry touch, worked her. 5 kids, 2 miscarriages in their 9 years, and then the cancer, which made the mop a crutch, and finally robbed me of her, my grief more like outrage, selfish pique, at one more impoverishment. A boy cheated of a mom has lived without her longer than she lived, and has reaped from life more than she could imagine. Yet poverty never will leave him, not when her leaving him left him with so little of her. What he has he keeps close, sewn in the pocket against his heart. Her outsized smile, her toil-damp hair, her reddened hands turning Dick and Jane. Yes, he says, she left all I need. She taught me words, and I repay and will spend them upon her, buying back our lives. The Leaving Never Leaves by Daniel Carpenter, from Passager's Spring 2023 issue. And speaking of Mother's Day, Passager has just released its new book of poems, Mother Nest, by Sandy Longley. Sandy is a mother poet who sees the world through her nurturing, protective instincts. Next week's Burning Bright will feature 4 poems from Mother Nest. Celebrate with Passager by purchasing a copy of this beautiful book today. To buy Mother Nest, Gilbert Arzola's Prayers of Little Consequence, Wilderness Sarchild's book Old Women Talking, or one of our archived issues of Passager, or to subscribe to or learn more about Passager and its commitment to writers over 50, go to PassagerBooks.com. For Kendra, Mary, Christine, Roseanne, and the rest of the Passager staff, I'm John Shore.